Greetings! For the comic page of this week, we had quite the issue. The characters are entering a garage full of cars. You know, the rich boy kind of garage with all the fancy cars. My initial idea was to show a lot of fancy cars, but then I realized that is a lot of cars to draw. I started the week with a lot of motivation and made my way through some of the sketches for the cars. I was able to get 3 concepts done on Tuesday, I believe, but then I lost my energy and didn't make any more concept designs. And the dread of having to draw multiple cars in a row was not something I was looking forward to. So I started looking for a way out. And luckily, I found it in a way that car nerds take care of their precious vehicles. Turns out that they will cover up their cars with sheets to protect it from the elements, like, light, dust, and whatever else there is, like, bird poop. So yeah, I could just cover them up nicely and still show a whole bunch of them if I wanted to. But the background was still an issue, especially in the first and the last panel of the comic. I just couldn't pinpoint the right angle or perspective for the composition, so I went back to a trick I've used before when I can't decide what composition works best. I'll draw a sketch of the location or the scene, and then I'll put some triangles at the various locations, showing where a camera could be placed at what angle. And then I'll do a quick sketch for each of the angles. This allows me to very quickly get a vibe of what works the best. And it's also a bit of a brainstorming session for maybe to get better angles. And thanks to this way, I was able to find an angle for the last panel I did not think about at first. And I even got a better one for the first panel as well. Making them, however, was a whole other sandwich, because it took me, wait, only 2 hours? Wow, that did not feel like 2 hours. That felt like ages that I worked on that. Well, okay. I also made a few extra props for in the background, like a clock and a calendar. These are 2 items I will be able to use a lot of other times in the comic, as they are generic enough to fit anywhere else in the background. Of course, I can only use the calendar on Planet Zom itself, as it is one of those items that predates the zombie apocalypse over there. If you look closely at the date, you'll see the day that the zombie apocalypse started. I mean, maybe. It's also possible that people in that office just didn't pay attention enough to the calendar. But I think lore-wise, September could be the month that shit hit the fan on Planet Zom. And yeah, that's a Calvin and Hobbes reference. It's one of my older drawings I made back in the day, and just like that captcha I showed last week, I made a t-shirt print out of it. And yeah, that shirt is also very faded by now. Maybe I should print it again sometime. Anyway, in other news, I made some upgrades for the character sheets of Zaira and Spears, adding the full body image of what they look like these days, and I made a character sheet for Kira, as she'll be one of the more reoccurring characters in Planet Zom 3. She's not yet a full-time cast member, but if I like her enough, she could find a spot in the cast somewhere. But that's a decision for later. Right now, I'm working on Planet Zone 3, and any later works will have to wait. I got enough work with the current comic and any side projects that I'm working on. Anyway, that's about it for this week. I'll leave you with these 2 key hangers I made as a New Year's gift for my godchildren. They won't see this vlog, so it's perfectly fine to show it here. I just wanted to brag a bit about making a homemade gift. Anyway, see ya!